Okay guys, I'm going to go over some settings in TEPSX. In that last clip, I showed opening up the computer, and when I did, you only saw one image in the thumbnail bar. And the reason why that was like that is I didn't go in the preferences and change it. So I'm going to go up to TEPS preferences in the TEPS settings. And I'm going to go into the output part of the TEPS settings menu, and I'm going to disable the customer order mode. I'm going to leave it on for 1 second, and I'm going to go ahead and start the program up just to show you, to remind you what I'm talking about. I'm going to go to preview images. I'm going to open up a folder that's got some green screen images in it. And in the previous video, I also showed you that in your preferences in the TEPS settings, you can change the chroma key preferences to tell it where you want, what templates you want to use when the program is started, and I just changed it over to our default ones. This happens to be a green screen image in this folder, so I'm going to just change it to something that's green screen. Some Christmas ones here that we used. And you notice when it opened up, it opened up image 001 because it's still in that customer order mode. And like I said, you'd have to hit Command 1 or use a barcode scanner and know, an image that's good to be able to pull something else up. In this case, I pulled up image 006. So I'm gonna go back. I'm gonna quit TEPS, and I'm gonna go back into preferences, and I'm gonna change that setting to where it's not in the customer order mode. Go back to the input window and disable it. Now when I hit preview images, when TEPS starts up now, you're going to see all the thumbnails that were taken during that event. And we'll change this back to a green screen job. And we'll pick another template and see how I just put those guys right in there. I'm going to go back in here. Let me get back out of that. Down at the bottom of this toolbar, it says set up defaults for this template. I'm going to hit that. And then I'm going to go on the green screen. I'm going to make my adjustments like before. I'm going to start at number 1 over here, and I'm going to pick something I know is green. So if I look at this thumbnail up here, I know everything right here on the right side of him is green, so I can select green. Go to number 2, and I'm looking for the shadows, and this happened to have a big shadow on it right here. So I'm going to pick that shadow. And now I'm going to go to number 3, and I'm going to start working on these guys' images right here. And I might not be able to get that shadow out of there. We'll have to see. I'm going to go back to shadows again, and maybe not pick so much of it. And just keep working on this till I get it where I kind of want it. No stuff in there is not. Then I'm going to hit Shift Zoom, and I'm going to go back to this image. And you notice how it dropped that out. And then I can go in here and say, save these values to the template. And it saved those values to that template. And then I want to exit the default setup. If I go to this other image, it should be pretty similar to that. It did a good job of dropping it out. So now I'm going through all my images, and they're all seeming to drop out fairly well. I'm going to use this image as an example. We zoomed in on this one, but if you notice, we caught the image off where you can see the edge of the image. I'm going to show you a thing in chroma key that's kind of a cool little trick, and it's called an exclusion mask. And I'm going to go in there, and I'm going to say you can either pick the rectangular tool or the circle tool, or you can freeform it. I'm going to stick the rectangular because this is going to be real easy. What I'm going to do is I'm going to draw a rectangle around this image, and things outside of the rectangle are going to be excluded from the mask. So I've got the image area inside the red there, everything on the outside of that red is going to be excluded. So when I hit return, now I can, and here's that little quirk thing I told you about. See, the menu disappeared. I tried to get that to replicate in another clip, but I couldn't get it to do it. This menu disappeared. So don't freak out. All you gotta do is click somewhere on the screen and it'll come right back. And I'm gonna show you now, I can still see that pole and stuff over here, but it's excluded out of this picture now. I can move this picture just about anywhere I want. I can move it way over here. And where you normally would be seeing this wall right here, you don't see that now. It's only using part of that image, the part that I included in the inclusion mask. So that's a cool way of removing background stands and the tops of the background where you might have shot too wide, sandbags, things like that, that might be in the picture. So that's an exclusion mask. I'm gonna go back in here and I'm gonna turn it off. I'm gonna go back to my exclusion mask. And if I want to clear it, I just hit clear shape and then hit OK. And there again, it did the same thing. It replicated that same problem. If I click on it, that menu's going to come back. And now if I go over here and I scoot the picture over here, you can see that background stand, or you can see that wall. So that's what an exclusion mask does. If we had something that was, say, one of these girls had on an item. Let me see if I can find an image that will demonstrate this better. Of course, when you look for one, you can't find it. I was going to show you, well, here's one that we can kind of give a good example of. This girl's dress is blue, and sometimes, like if say this was green, it would be dropping out. And so we have another tool over here in the chroma key menu called junk mask. And let's say she had a corsage on or a logo or something like that, or this dress was green. I can go in here and grab my circle marquee. I can go in there, and anything that I circle, it's not going to try to drop it out. It's going to keep it. So once I say yes, go back and see, now it's doing that just about every time. That's just one of those things that'll drive you crazy. Now her dress will always be in the picture. Here's a good example right up here at the top. Let me go back in really quick and do this. Junk mask. See this little green, it's part of the clamp that we use to clamp the background. Almost, I want to keep that in the picture. So I'm going to get me a circle marquee. I'm going to go up here. I'm going to circle around that, hit OK. And double click on my image. I'm going to pull it down. And now you'll see that it didn't drop that green out, even though that green's really close to the background color. That's a good example of using a junk mask. Alright, that's it for this video. I just wanted to show you again that if you start up your computer in the wrong mode, you're only going to see one thumbnail. So if that happens, go in there and change your preferences and disable the customer order mode. I'll catch you on the next clip.